I'm going to show you how to auto-rotate your secret in AWS Secret Manager. Let's dive into it. So the first thing is to, of course, create a secret. If you have a secret, you can skip this step. If you don't, follow through. So you can dismiss this message. This is not for us. So I'll be focusing on other type of secrets. If yours is any of these ones, you can still follow through, just slight difference in the logic for the rotation. Then for the key value, let me just do something like AWS, PayPal, API, secret. I'll just look for a value, a JWT. So I'm just copying this one. Let's check the validity is 2018. Okay, I'll just copy this one and set it here. So for the name, ensure that the name that you are putting is a very descriptive name so that it is easy for you to identify what the secret is for. So for here, I'll just put prod, PayPal, secret. Also, the description is very important so that you can identify what the secret is for in the future. We click next. So this is where the magic actually happens. When you enable this, you can set the schedule rotation and also the Lambda function for the rotation. However, we don't have a Lambda function set, so we can skip this step and come back to it. As you can see here, it is optional. Now, so this is just to review what you've done. So let's just click store. Then when I do this, we see that it's set. So the next thing to do is to set up our Lambda function. I'll be creating a new tab here. Okay, I don't have any Lambda function on this account, so I'll just create the first one. So of course, I'm starting from scratch. You can choose any of these depending on your use case. So let me just do the name. I'm using Python for this. You can use Node.js. You just need to, you can use any other language anyways. So creating function takes a while. So sip coffee and do something else while you wait. Okay, now that we are done, you can dismiss this. We don't need to set up local development. So the first thing I will want us to do is to print out the event that eventually comes here. So when we have an event coming from the Secrets Manager, where like when the rotation schedule is up, some event will be sent to the Lambda function. So we just want to keep track of that event and use that to build our logic. Then when you're done, you click deploy. Important things I would like to do, since an external service will be invoking our Lambda function, so you want to ensure that the permission is there for that action to be successful. So let us set the permission. You come to configuration and permission, then come to the resource-based policy statement. So add your permission here. In the AWS, since we are expecting the Secret Manager to invoke the Lambda, so we're picking the service, and the service that we are expecting is Secret Manager. So you can put the ID to identify this particular policy. So let me just put secret. Okay. Then the action we want to allow is invoke Lambda. That's it. So save. Now that we've set this up, Secret Manager would be able to invoke this Lambda function without issues. Then the next thing we want to do the other way around, because after the Secret Manager invoke the Lambda function, we also want Lambda function to be able to read the secret and also perform some updates on the secret. So you need to set up the some inline-based policies for the Lambda service role so that it can access the Secret Manager service. We just click on the role name here. Good. So currently we have a default policy here that allows for allows creation of CloudWatch, which is good. We're going to use CloudWatch later on. But so what we want to do now is to add an inline policy that is going to allow us to perform some action on Secret Manager. So let's just look through. I prefer using the visual. The JSON, you have to, I don't want to mess it up. So just use visual. So let's just look through. Do I need list secrets? Okay, I think I might need that. So I'll set that up. Then I would need describe secrets. Definitely, I'll need to get the secret value. List secret version IDs. It's possible I might need that. So I'll get that. Then for write, put secret, yes. I'll need to update the secret when I refresh the secret. Update secret, yes. Create secret, I'll need to create secret also. I'm not going to be enabling or disabling the rotate secrets function. So no, I'm not going to be deleting nothing from here. There is another one, update secret version stage. Yeah, this also I'll be needing that to move a stage, because when you update a particular secret, you want to move it from pending to current. Ideally, in a production environment, you want to specify the particular resources that will be affected or that this policy will act on. But for this video, let's just keep it safe, keep it simple, or not keep it safe, keep it simple. It's safer to do specific, actually, but I'll just do all. But don't do this in production. So the policy name, Lambda secret policy. Okay, I can do that. Let me say people. Then I'm creating the policy. So now what we've done is that we've set the permission that whenever the Lambda function wants to perform some actions on the secrets manager, it should be allowed. That is basically what we just did now. So now we're going to go back to the Lambda function so that we can proceed. Since I'll be using JWT in the Lambda function and it does not come pre-built with Lambda, so I would need to upload a JWT package into this Lambda. There are different ways to do it. You can use layers or you can just do direct upload. So what I'll be doing now is direct upload. However, for production related deployments, you should not directly upload. I would advise that you should use layers instead. Okay, so what I'll just do now is to create this Lambda, create the Lambda file. Then I'll just copy what we have here into this place. Basically, what I want to do is to install the JWT locally, zip it, and upload it into the Lambda function. That's what I want to do now. So just follow along. Okay, so the first thing I want to do now is to install the JWT into a new folder. Yeah, so this warning is expected because, of course, you have to, when you are installing in Python, you want to do that within an environment. I didn't set up an environment. So the next thing to do is to copy this into our package. I'm just doing control copy. So that has been copied. Then the next thing is to now zip. So before I zip, I will go into the folder. So the reason I'm going to the folder is because I want to only zip the content of the folder. I don't want to zip the folder itself. So that's why I need to go into the folder. Then I'll run zip -r. So what this is saying is zip the content of package and put it into a file that is outside of package. That's why there is this dot here. So when I run this, now we have this here. Okay, cool. Then I think we're done with this. So I can now upload the zip file. I'm going to be uploading the Lambda here. Oh, good. So now we have the JWT, we have the distribution here as expected. Then we retain our file. So the next step is to enable the rotation. Before I go ahead, I need to deploy. Then enable rotation in the Secrets Manager. Good. So now I'm going to be enabling the rotation. Edit rotation, enable. So unfortunately, the lowest time unit that you can use is 4 hours. So if I put 2 or 1, it will not allow. Then also that's as of 2026. It can change later on. And also you can use days, weeks, months. Yeah. So because we have just one Lambda function in our account, that is why we have the account automatically selected. However, if you have multiple functions, you might need to actively search in order to get the target function. So now that I've saved, it has saved successfully. So now there will be an event that will be sent to CloudWatch as you enabled it, and that is the structure of the event that will be sent for every rotation. The event is usually in fours. It usually comes in fours. The first one is the createSecret. The second one is the setSecret. The third one is testSecret. Then final one is FinishSecret. So those 4. It can change in the future, but that is what it is now. So now we're going to go to our CloudWatch, pick the event, and use that to build our logic. Okay. So actually, the easiest way to go into CloudWatch that is attached to the Lambda function is go to the Lambda function, come to monitor, and go to view CloudWatch. It's easier that way. So now we have a log stream. So let's view what that log stream is all about. So we have so this is the event that is coming. If I just copy this, now I'm going to create test cases for this event, so that as we are building our logic, we can test what we're building and see if it works or not. Come to the Lambda function, come to the code, then under this place you will see test event. Let me just do createSecret and I'll paste it here. So as you can see, since it is text based, it's not properly formatted for JSON, so I'll just quickly change that. Good. Just beautify this. Then you save. I can also quickly create for the other ones. I'll be omitting setSecret and I'll tell you why later on. So as you can see, the structure is the same, but the only difference is that the name of the step is different. So I'm skipping this. We do not really need it for this particular context. So this one, let me save it, testSecret. Create an event for testSecret. Then change this to testSecret. Save. And also we can create for FinishSecret. Okay, so now we have our test cases, and the next thing we want to do is to flesh out the logic. What I want to do is import the necessary packages. While we are building, we would also need the secret cases. We're working with JWT, so I will just pick a secret from jwt.io that we visited before. Let me pick this secret key. Cool. Then we'll be using an algorithm. So then let me set up basic login. Okay. So in our Lambda function, that the Lambda handler, that is the first point of entry. Let us pick up some needed attributes. First, we need the secret ID. That's the ARN. And we can see that here, down here. Just the event. Then we also need the client request token. And also we need the step. What step are we in? Okay, remember we said there are 4 steps. the next is to create a client. So I want to put the client up, but let me just put it here then. Then the next thing we want to do is to just do some checks before we start working on the secrets, on the steps. First things first is let's pick the metadata from the secret. So we're going to describe the secrets and pick up the metadata. So this is going to give us the version IDs. It's going to tell us if it's actually enabled. So we want to see if it is not enabled. Then the next thing we want to do also is to check the version IDs. So let me show you in the Secret Manager. Version. You see we have this particular version. When a new rotation comes in, it's going to create a new version but set it to AWS pending. So there are 3 stages. We have pending, current, and also previous. So we want to check those version IDs and ensure that, okay, I think this might be small. Bring it up a bit. Take this one. Yep. So we want to check those version IDs. So let's do versions. Then you want to check if token is not in version. So if this token, request token, right? Let me put it like that. If request token is not in these versions, then where there is no rotation to be made, right? Because there is a mismatch somewhere. We don't care whatever the mismatch is. It's just that we're not going to work on that. Then the next thing we want to do is to check that the token that is sent in the event, does it have a current state? So if AWS current is in versions, if the version is already in the current state, then there's nothing to work on. It means that it is worked on already. What we want to work on is a token that is in the pending state. That's what we want to work on. So we need to also check if there is any other status. If AWS pending is not in this, then it has no stage for rotation token. So any logic that comes to line 49 must be a token that is in the pending state, right? That is what we want. Okay, good. So now we'll start working on these steps. I'll just fill in the steps, then we can work on it later. So if the step equal to create secret, we will create the secret. Else if the step equal to set secret, we're going to set secret. So like I said, we're not going to be working on this. When we get there, I will explain why. If step is called testSecret, then else if step equals to FinishSecret, then FinishSecret. And else, if in case none of this works, then we know that there is an issue. So we need to raise an error. Good. So that will be all. We now need to start filling this up. So I'm just going to put this now like this, then work on create secret. Let me define it, create secret. So for create secret, what we want to do is first we check the token that is sent in the event. Is it in pending state? If it is in pending state, then we would not action on it. We will just return early, because if it's in pending state, it means that it has been created. Then if the token throws an error, it means it has not been created. Then we can continue. Then we will generate a fresh token and set that token into the secret. That's what we want to do now. So what we'll do is service client dot get secret value. So we're getting secret value. If this returns something, it means that we've set a secret into this particular token ID. So we don't need to do it again. However, if it returns an error, then we need to, set up a fresh JWT. So for what I will do here is just the payload. So this of course, for JWT, you can add any metadata here just to identify what you're working with. Let me just create a UUID. I am on uuidgenerator.net, so copy, give us a UUID. Then what role? Let me say developer. So you can add as many metadata as you want. I'll just stay here. The next thing is to generate a new token. So before we proceed, let us actually define what generate token will look like. So in JWT, the thing that is mostly common is the issue date and also the expiry date. So that's what we want to work on. The issue date is IAT in most cases. Then we also have expiry. We set it to 30 days. So what this means is that we want to pick the date for now using the UTC time zone. Then we want to put the expiry date to be 30 days from now. So now let us build the JWT payload. So since we have a payload coming from here, I'm going to be spreading it here. Then we set the issue date to be nope, this is what I want. I want it to be a number. Then same thing with this timestamp. Okay, now I can encode the token, jwt.encode. So we're expecting a valid JWT token to come from here, and it will be setting it here. So what we want to do is new token. We want to now set it as a secret. The way to do that is to do service client. So if you put this string directly here, what it will do is that it's going to convert what we have here to a plain text, and it will only show this. So we want to put it in this format. This is how we want to put it in the format, so that it can still show as key value pair, right? In order to do that, what we want to do is JSON.dumps. Good. So now it's going to retain the key value pair that we have here. Then the next thing we want to do is to go to the setSecret. But however, let us test our createSecret and see if it works. Of course, you deploy to ensure that what you've done is working. So let's go to createSecret. Fingers crossed. Let's see if it works. Okay, I think I got the name wrong. It's expire. So since we're using Boto3, we need to import that also. So before we proceed, I noticed another error in line 96. The variable name is supposed to be IAT and not now. Quick observation in line 91. The latest Boto3 version describes version stage as a list and not a string. So we're going to change that. Also, the naming is version stages and not version stage. Let's test again. Okay, good. So let's check our secret and see if anything has changed. We go to the versions. Now we have two versions. So it's one already before, and it's in pending state. Yeah, because when I updated it, I still set it to pending. So the next thing you want to do is to set secret. For setSecret, the ideal logic for setSecret is that you are taking the newly stored secret and you are saving it in external services that depend on that secret. Now, for example, if an external service uses the token that you saved in secret and you refresh it, now there will be both of them will be out of sync. So setSecret is basically you syncing whatever you have in your secret manager to whatever you have in your secret manager to the external service that most likely would need the secret. So that is what the setSecret does. But for our case, we don't need that, so we're going to pass. Then the next thing we're doing is to test the secret to ensure that the secret is correct. So for test secrets, we will do a try except, and we'll do service client dot get secret value. So if we are able to get a response, so what we'll do is JWT underscore token, because this secret is going to come in a stringified JSON. So you want to pass it into a JSON so that you can have access to the value. Okay. So what I want to do first here is to print. I want to print this, whatever we get here in this response here. So I want to be sure what exactly it gives us. Also, I want to print. I want to separate this. So what do we get here? Also, this is just to ensure that in case there is an error, we're able to quickly grab that. And now that we've successfully gotten the JWT, what we will do next is to validate the JWT token. So of course, you might not be working with JWT, but it is in the test secret that you want to validate that the secret that you've generated actually works. So if your secret has to, if the way to test your secret is to do an API call with that secret, then maybe that's what you should do. But since I'm working with JWT, I can just validate the string. So the good thing is when I validate, I want to throw an error. If it is valid, then I should be able to get to this point. And if it is not valid, then I should be able to catch the error. So let us define what our validate function will be. So in the validate JWT, what we want to do is to decode the token, and if it works, we just return success. If it doesn't work, then we throw an error. That's what we want to do. So we try. We also want to check the values that we've set, which is the expiry and also the issuing. So now what we're going to do is the decode, JWT.decode as a request token, the JWT token, the secret key, the algorithm, and also the options. So we are expecting that this EXP and IAT must be in the JWT token that is given to us. You can also add the user ID and all that things that you are expecting. And whatever the result is, let me just return like this. And if it throws an error, let us try to catch it. So except expire. So this is where I wanted to use the expired signature. Then you raise value error. Then we do a custom error here. And if it is not an expired error, maybe it's an invalid error, then we do invalid token. Good. So whenever we get that type of error, we want to catch it here. So first things first, we want to ensure that did we really get any result back. So if we didn't get any result back, then this is what we'll get. Or if we got a result but it's an error that was thrown, then we're going to do value error. So we can see the exact error that was thrown, if it is the expiry or invalid. Waiting for it to complete. Yep, just saves a lot of time autocomplete. Okay, so now when we run this, we'll get the value, then we'll pass the JWT, we'll pass the string that is returned and get the JWT token. Then the next thing is to validate. So that's how we will test. So we're not doing any updates or anything, it's just to validate. I see a syntax error in line 141. Let's fix that. Next, we're going to uncomment the remaining steps so we can work on that. Seems we missed out the naming in line 64 and 65. Let's correct that also. In line 55, I mistakenly added that extra character. If you have it, you should remove it. It's going to throw an error. The moment of truth. We're going to save the code by clicking deploy. And next, we're going to click on testSecret to validate our logic. So we got response back, and our JWT was actually correct, and that's why we got correct. We got a 200 response. If not, we would have gotten an error. So the next thing we want to do is to finish the secret, which is the last part. In this finish secret, what we want to do is to check the value, and if we are able to retrieve the value, then we are going to move the stage from pending to current. So let's flesh that out. So just like we did before, we got the metadata for service client dot describe secret. Then the next thing we want to do is to keep track of the current version, because we are going to be looping over the multiple version IDs that we have. So for versions in metadata, so if the token is in current state, then we don't need to move anymore because it's in the stage we want to put it in. So we're not going to work on that. But if the token has pending in a stage, then we can work on that. Okay, so now we'll check if the version is the token that we're working on and it is current. Then we're not going to work on that. We'll just log a message out. However, if it's not in the current state, then we want to work on that. So we keep track of that version, and that is what we want to work on. Then we stop looping. So the next thing is to now update. Service client.update. Let me just do this. The versions, now we want to put the version stage in current. Let's check again. So when we check this, we see that 4D2 is in pending. What we want to do is put this 4D2 in current and put this one in pending, because this version ID is the one that has the expired JWT token that we started with, and this is the one that has the fresh JWT token that we just worked on. So this becomes current, this becomes previous. So the target version ID is the request token, which is the one that this event was sent for, and the removed version ID is the current version that we kept track of here, because it was current and it is not the token, so we keep track of it that okay, it is the one that is, the current version that is active, and that is the one we want to remove as the current. Then once that is done, we want to log this on. Let me just check this before I save. Yeah. Okay, version IDs to got that to stages. Okay, now it's correct there. Yeah, hopefully I don't have any error. So let me check if I've enabled that here. Okay, it's enabled. FinishSecret, good. Fingers crossed. Okay, FinishSecret. I'm going to do the test case now. New token, not. So that's line 155. No, it's supposed to be none, because we are setting it as none, initializing it, then we are updating it here. So it's not supposed to be new token, it's supposed to be none. So let's test finish. Oh, line 158 was that version. Okay, I see the issue. So this was the one that we are picking from, and it's supposed to be this is the name of the individual item in the iteration, and it's supposed to be the same as this. So it's supposed to be version because it's singular, it's individual, right? So I guess a little typo there. It's quite annoying though, but then same thing again. So version equals to token, equals to request token. Now, I believe we shouldn't have any error. So let's get that in. 200. Okay, unknown parameter in input, target version ID. It says target version ID is must be of secret ID or version stage of this. So I think I made a mistake here. It's supposed to be move to version ID. So this is what it's supposed to be. Then this will be removed from version ID. So we're moving this to version ID and we're removing this from version ID. It's not the target ID actually. So now we've been able to successfully move the pending version ID into the current. So let us check what it looks like. So now we see that 4D is in current, and the one that was there before is in previous. So this is what we want. And another thing to note to see if actually our token, which is the most important thing, is updated or not. We had an invalid token that has expired. That was what was added in the beginning. So we want to see if it actually updated it. So let me see. We're going to validate. Moment of truth. So now I'm going to check here. See, now it's February 17, 2026. So it means that, and this is January 18. So it means that it was updated successfully. And now when this rotation runs again, it's going to go through those 4 cycles and update your secret successfully without you having to touch it. So that's it. I would like to know how the experience was for you while setting this up in the comment section. Thank you.